What is happening, YouTube? So, pretty much the regular season is about to be over. There are 2 games left, and the Clippers are pretty much in a really closed seeding, basically. They're like the Clippers have not officially clinched the play-in spot yet, but the playoff spot yet. Um, as long as they win one of the games, like either Sunday or Saturday, it is pretty much guaranteed that we're at least the 6th seed. But but um, that may not be a guarantee if we lose tomorrow. So tomorrow we shouldn't lose because the Blazers are pretty much tanking everybody. But the major debate is who should the Clippers try to get as a first round matchup? The Sacramento Kings or the Phoenix Suns? Long story short, my personal answer is I couldn't care less. Just don't go to the play-in. Just make sure you at least clinch a spot that you're actually in the playoffs and not the play-in. But of course, I'm definitely gonna make a way longer video right now and just pretty much go in my depth analysis with each of the teams, and I will probably explain on which teams do I kind of lean towards to who I'd rather get in the first round. And honestly, I would lean towards the Phoenix Suns. Now, a lot of people are very scared of the Suns since they got Kevin Durant. They got all these big names on their teams and all that. But me, I do not like looking at names. Um, to the people who've been watching my videos, you could pretty much really tell that I'm not the type of guy who, judge players based off names. I just pretty much um, would look at what the players would do. And the Phoenix Suns, yes, they do have a lot of stars. They have Kevin Durant. They got Devin Booker. They got DeAndre Ayton. Um, they got CP3. But that's what they pretty much have. They pretty much have stars, but they don't have like a complete unit. The Clippers, they have like a well balanced team, and ideally they have a semi perfect team. But unfortunately, we all know how Ty Lue is been as a coach. He doesn't utilize the depth properly, but nevertheless, we still got a stronger bench. We got Bones at the bench. We got Norm at the bench. We got Plumlee. We got Batum. We got Robert Covington. If Ty Lue decides to play him, which I, I think he should, especially if we do face the Phoenix Suns, or any team in general. But we got Covington, and then not forget our starting lineup. We got Russ, PG, Kawhi. Well, not PG because PG's hurt, but I guess you got Gordon and all that or whatever, and then you got Zubac, and then you have Batum, and then you do have Marcus Morris, who's been a liability, trimmed down his minutes. But the Clippers, they have a more complete team. Who does the Phoenix Suns have outside of their stars? Um, they don't have Mikal Bridges, who's a phenomenal defender. They don't have Cam Johnson, who's another defender. So they don't really have any defenders who can guard Kawhi Leonard, really. Um, they have Josh Okogie, who's like 6'4". Torrey Craig, yeah, he's okay at defense. Well, I'll say he's good. I'll say he's good, but he's not like no lockdown defender. I mean, Kawhi Leonard literally fried Jared Vanderbilt, so Torrey Craig shouldn't be a problem. Bismack Biyombo just pretty much went out with the injury, so that should definitely provide less fear for the Clippers to face against the Suns. I mean, and then they have Jock Landale, who's kind of an underrated big man, but of course he's nothing too crazy. Well, hopefully he isn't. Um, let's see. They got Campaign, who's I would say like I don't know, kind of inconsistent. But who do they have to really be a threat on Kawhi Leonard? So that's why I would kind of lean a bit towards the Phoenix Suns. Um, and they also play in a slower pace too. They're not like a very fast offensive team. So let's just say if our defense would kind of like sag off, sag off with certain players. Just I'm just trusting the fact that our worst defender is not guarding Kevin Durant. We're more prone with being able to kind of like get away with being a being like lazy on defense. When you're playing against the Sacramento Kings, they're fast on offense. They're like lightning speed on offense. They're more younger and they got more youth. And pretty much the Kings, they're pretty much like the Denver Nuggets, really. The Kings, they got De'Aaron Fox, who's one of the best premier point guards in the league. He's extremely clutch. So when it's pretty much down with the fourth quarter and the Clippers are neck to neck, and Clippers they tend to crumble at times. De'Aaron Fox, he is known to be very, very clutch. And you got Sabonis, who's pretty much like a Nikola Jokic. He could dime, shoot, and do all that. And the Clippers, they don't do well against teams like the Denver Nuggets and even the Sacramento Kings. And also, of course, they got youth. They got Keegan Murray. They got Malik Monk off the bench. Malik, that dude dropped 40. That is just unbelievable. And they just play. They just played a really faster team, and they have the Sacramento Kings do have more youth. But I'm gonna speak from the other side of the perspective right now on why some people would rather face the Sacramento Kings rather than the Phoenix Suns, which I guess it could be understandable. Um, One is the Sacramento Kings, they've never been in the playoffs before, so obviously they're more prone to choking. Um, Two, which is, and this is like a more of a chess move type reasoning that I like, that could be a really good argument on why the Clippers should get the Sacramento Kings in the first round is because the second round should definitely be even easier if we do beat the Sacramento Kings, which I think we could still beat the Kings, but I feel it's a little bit more of a tougher matchup than a lot of people think because the second round is going to be smooth. Um, the second round is going to be the Memphis Grizzlies, and the Memphis Grizzlies, um, I feel like we could definitely beat the Grizzlies because the Grizzlies, they don't really have a strong big man that could go toe to toe with a guy like Ivica Zubac. And Zubac could just get the rebounds like crazy and just stomp the living heck out of the Memphis Grizzlies. And the Grizzlies, they've been pretty inconsistent. They lost to the Golden State Warriors without Steph Curry, and they had a long period of a losing streak. And the Clippers, they're more like filled out. They have more of a better balance of youth and vets, and also don't forget, um, the Memphis Grizzlies don't have like really their wing defenders either to guard Kawhi because they don't have Brandon Clark. If they had Brandon Clark, the Memphis Grizzlies would definitely be more of a threat. But since Brandon Clark is out, Kawhi should also cook the Memphis Grizzlies too. And they only have John Morant, who's a very electrifying point guard. They got Bane, who could shoot the lights out. Although the risk about the Grizzlies is they now have Luke Kennard, who's smelling for blood. So I guess that could also be a little bit of a concern if we do get the Kings. But it really goes either way. Um, and but let's just say let's go back to if we get the Phoenix Suns. So we beat the Suns. So our second round is going to be a way tougher matchup. Most likely going to be the Denver Nuggets, because the Denver Nuggets, they're the first seed, and usually the fourth or fifth seed, they tend to face the first seed. And the Nuggets, oh man, they are a pain to our thorn. They're like a thorn for the Clippers, man. I don't think the Clippers have beaten the Denver Nuggets this year. Like, did they? I don't remember. I don't think so. The Nuggets just have our number, and if we get them in the second round, there's a fat risk that we get bounced in the second round. So, man, that could also be a good reason on why some fans would want the Sacramento Kings as a first round. So that's just pretty much my like kind of like not kind of like my pros and cons of getting each side, because if you get the Phoenix Suns, personally, obviously, I think the Suns are an easier matchup, but chess move wise, the second round could be a lot harder because you get into Denver Nuggets. While the Sacramento Kings, I think they might be they're a harder matchup, but the second round is going to be like a lot more favorable towards the Clippers. And also, Charles Barkley did say guarantee that the Sacramento Kings will win the playoff series. So I guess that can also motivate you on wanting to pick the Sacramento Kings in the first round. But pretty much, I think I pretty much went into details on the pros and cons on who would we rather face. Um, Honestly, I'm really 50-50. I know in the beginning of the video I said I would rather face the Phoenix Suns in the first round, but man, I'm honestly going back and forth right now, and low key I might change my mind. Maybe the Sacramento Kings. But again, our first priority is not trying to choose our matchup. We could decide that um, after tomorrow. Also, tomorrow I'm gonna be at the game as well too, so you might expect a little vlog video over there. So that's gonna be pretty fun. But but first thing we should think of tomorrow, just get the win. Get the win, clinch the playoff spot, and then we could decide who we'd rather get, the Suns or the Kings. Um, Once we get the win tomorrow, maybe I can have a more consistent decision, because I know, like I said earlier in the video, I said I'd rather get the Phoenix Suns. Easier matchup, obviously. But thinking about it, chess move wise, I'm 50-50. But let me know what y'all think. Who would y'all rather get in the first round? The Phoenix Suns or the Sacramento Kings? Definitely let me know on why would you rather face the Kings or the Phoenix Suns. Would you rather face a team who has very good star power, but they have very raw chemistry and raw depth, and but you get a harder matchup in the second round? Or would you rather face an inexperienced team, but a semi-bad matchup, but you get an easier team in the second round, which is more of a easier path for a Western Conference Finals? So pretty much just, if you want the Suns, I feel like it's kind of more of a short-term thing for like the first round. But if you want the Sacramento Kings, it's kind of like a long-term type thing. Like it's not pleasant immediately, but in the long term, it could benefit. So that's kind of like my analysis. But anyways, take care, much love, and definitely leave a comment down below on which matchup y'all would rather have. And peace. Oops.